In the shadows of World War II, an unlikely hero emerged from the Finnish plains, defying enemy artillery fire with nothing but an outdated rifle and unwavering determination. His name? Simo Häyhä, known as the White Death by those who feared him. Get ready to delve into the dark world of war, where courage and bravery are tested at every turn. Be warned, what you're about to hear is not for the faint of heart. If you scare easily or aren't prepared to face the unknown, you might want to find another video. But if you're fearless and ready to dive into a narrative filled with mystery, action, and suspense, then you've come to the right place. Get ready for a journey that will stir your senses and leave you breathless. General Jack is ready to narrate the most intense moments in wartime history, and you're ready to listen. So, if you're prepared to push your limits and venture into the world of war heroes, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. But remember, be prepared for what's to come. The adrenaline is about to kick in. In the shadows of World War II, an unlikely hero emerged from the Finnish plains, defying enemy artillery fire with nothing but an outdated rifle and unwavering determination. His name? Simo Häyhä, known as the White Death by those who feared him. But Simo's story began in a simple way, in a small farming community where he spent his days helping his parents on the farm and exploring the surroundings. He was just one among 8 children of a humble family, but there was something in his reserved and timid nature that hinted at an extraordinary destiny. While other boys engaged in play, Simo preferred to dedicate himself to developing his skills in nature, hunting in dense forests, and honing his agility on snowy slopes. His silent strength was an indication of what was to come. And when war broke out, Simo found himself facing a new challenge. Armed with his simple rifle, he confronted the enemy with impressive calmness, each shot a demonstration of his sharp skill and unwavering determination. As the days passed and the body count increased, Simo Häyhä's name echoed across the battlefields, inspiring both allies and enemies with his unshakable bravery. But behind every precise shot was a story of ordinary childhood, of a boy who grew up among fields and forests, learning the secrets of nature and forging his own destiny in the pages of military history. And though his name might fade over time, his courage and skill would be remembered forever. In the depths of the dense forests of the Finnish wilderness, Simo delved into a world of wild learning. Hunting among the tall trees and skiing down snowy slopes, he absorbed the skills that would turn him into a formidable warrior in the future. As he honed his sharp aim like a skilled hunter, Simo also excelled in local shooting competitions, collecting trophies that adorned his modest home. The Finnish Civil Guard shooting range, not far from his family, became his favorite training ground. At 17, he joined the Civil Guard, a volunteer militia where his dexterity and determination soon caught the eye of his superiors. His natural talent for war was beginning to reveal itself. Meanwhile, Finland fought for its independence from Russia, plunging into the turmoil of war. For many young men like Simo, mandatory military service became an inevitability. The nation, newly created from the ashes of conflict, demanded that all men over 18 serve. When the time came, Simo did not hesitate to enlist. At just 19, he found himself in the Ruthless battalion, receiving basic military training in the mountains and forests that would one day be the stage of his greatness. Among his peers, he soon stood out, attracting the attention of Tapio Saralinho, who would later become his biographer. But even Saralinho could not foresee the extraordinary destiny that awaited Simo Häyhä. Major Saralinho recalled that despite being a rookie recruit, Simo was capable of incredible feats. He could estimate distances of up to 150 meters with impressive accuracy, meaning he could calculate to the nearest meter up to a distance of 500 feet. During a shooting exercise on any given day, the major was astonished to see young Häyhä hit a target 150 meters away 16 times in less than a minute. The major considered this an unbelievable achievement, especially with a bolt-action rifle where each cartridge needed to be manually fed. By the end of his service, Simo had been promoted to corporal, a symbolic reward he deeply cherished. But the true treasure he took with him was the rifle he had trained with, an M28/30 Mosin Nagant. 14 years later, it would be this same rifle that struck fear into the hearts of the Red Army during the invasion. To understand the war in which Simo Häyhä would fight, it is important to grasp some of the context of Finnish-Soviet relations. This was not the first time Russia and Finland found themselves in hostilities. Finland emerged as a nation due to a Russian war in the early 19th century. Before that, all the land we now know as Finland was simply the eastern half of the Kingdom of Sweden, which was conquered by Russia during the Finnish War of 1808 to 2009, a conflict that shaped the region's destiny. Alexander I conquered a vast part of Sweden, defeating and capturing the Swedish King Gustav IV Adolf. He then designated these new lands, from Lake Ladoga in the south to Lapland in the north, as the Grand Duchy of Finland, an autonomous region within the Russian Empire, acting as a kind of barrier between Russia and the weakened Sweden. For over 100 years, Finland remained under the auspices of the Russian Empire, but by the late 19th century, tensions began to arise between the two countries. While the Russians sought to further integrate Finland into the empire, native Finns fought for their self-determination. When Vladimir Lenin, communist leader, announced after the October Revolution of 1917 that all national minorities had the right to secede from Russia, Finland saw an opportunity and declared its independence. What followed was a short and bloody civil war, similar to the one that occurred in Russia, fought between two factions, the Whites and the Reds. The Whites consisted of right-wing nationalists and monarchists from Finland's elite, while the Reds were comprised of socialists, factory workers, and peasants such as Simo Häyhä's family. After just 4 months, the Whites emerged victorious, shaping the country's future in the decades to come. However, unlike the outcome of the Russian Civil War, political and military tensions between Finland and Russia only increased. Despite the signing of a Soviet-Finnish non-aggression pact in 1932, Joseph Stalin was determined to reconquer Finland, citing concerns for the security of Leningrad. He reneged on the pact and launched an invasion on November 30, 1939. What followed was the Winter War, 100 days of snow and sorrow, a single winter of intense combat between the Red Army and Finnish soldiers. As the Winter War unfolded, Simo Häyhä, son of a common Finnish family, found himself amidst the chaos. Trained from a young age in hunting and survival skills, he now faced a challenge much greater than he had ever imagined. With his Mosin-Nagant rifle in hand, he fought in the frozen trenches against the invading forces of the Red Army. Despite lacking the formal training of a career soldier, Simo demonstrated exceptional prowess on the battlefield. His deadly accuracy and ability to quickly estimate distances set him apart from his peers. He became known to his comrades as a formidable marksman, capable of taking down targets with chilling precision. However, war was not just a matter of marksmanship. Simo faced life-or-death situations daily as Soviet troops advanced relentlessly through Finnish territory. Each battle was a fight for survival, and Simo was determined to protect his homeland and his family at all costs. As snow fell heavily on the battlefield and soldiers bravely battled the cold and hunger, Simo continued to astonish his enemies with his combat skills. His heroic deeds and inspiring leadership began to spread among Finnish ranks, elevating him to the status of a living legend among his people. But despite his feats, the war was far from over. The Red Army continued to advance, and Finland faced an uncertain future. For Simo and his comrades, each day brought new challenges and unimaginable dangers. The fate of the nation lay in the hands of those who bravely fought for their freedom and independence. Despite the reservations expressed by many generals, Stalin was convinced that he could completely subdue Finland. He even instructed his officers to be careful not to advance too far and cross the border into Sweden. However, the Red Army soon faced considerable challenges in the border regions where Simo Häyhä grew up. The rugged terrain, from marshes to dense forests and mountains, made a blitzkrieg strategy nearly impossible. Despite the numerical advantage and better equipment of the Red Army, Finnish soldiers, like Simo, often had to loot the bodies of dead Soviet soldiers to replenish their ammunition. The Russians had not yet tapped into their vast stocks of material stored during Russia's industrialization. Additionally, while Finland had only 32 tanks and 114 aircraft, the Red Army boasted around 4,000 tanks and 4,000 aircraft. However, despite all these advantages, the Red Army spectacularly failed in its mission. During the coldest winter ever recorded in Finland, with temperatures plummeting to -40 to -20 degrees Celsius, Soviet soldiers faced a series of challenges. They were not properly equipped with warm clothing, and their green uniforms made them easy targets for Finnish snipers in the snow. Furthermore, Stalin's purges the previous year had eliminated most of the competent officers from the Red Army, leaving them under the command of inexperienced leaders. Meanwhile, the Finns were familiar with their terrain and had trained reservists to fight in the extreme winter conditions. Their white camouflaged uniforms were warm and insulated, and they knew the tactics necessary to combat a numerically and resource-wise superior enemy. In the end, the Finns' ability to adapt to the terrain and extreme weather, combined with the inexperience and unpreparedness of the Red Army, was crucial to Finnish resistance against a much more powerful adversary. On March 6, 1940, Haiha faced his most challenging battle yet. An explosive bullet, fired by a Red Army soldier, pierced his lower left jaw, leaving him critically wounded. As a final blow, he was declared dead and tossed onto a pile of bodies amid the carnage of war. Rumors of his death spread like wildfire, echoing across Finland and the Soviet Union. However, a week later, on March 13th, as the country prepared to declare peace, Haiha regained consciousness. Astonishingly, he discovered news of his own demise while reading a newspaper. Determined to clear up the misunderstanding, he penned a letter to the paper to debunk the rumors and assert his survival. Despite Haiha's desire to continue fighting in the Continuation War, which followed in 1941, he was hindered by the severity of his facial injuries, from which he was still recovering. The urge to return to the battlefield burned within him, but his body needed time to heal from the physical and emotional scars left by the war. At a time when Europe simmered with hostilities, Finland held a secret trump card, Simo Haiha, known as the White Death. His legend began to take shape in 1938 when he received sniper training. Combining his innate hunting ability with the specialized techniques of a marksman, Haiha quickly stood out. When war erupted the following winter, he was called up for active duty, serving in the 6th Company of Infantry Regiment 34. Never one to boast, Haiha approached his duty with seriousness, simply stating that he carried out his orders to the best of his ability. In the first 22 days of conflict, he logged 138 confirmed kills, reaching a peak by eliminating 25 enemy soldiers in a single day. So lethal and stealthy, Haiha earned 2 nicknames, Magic Shooter among his peers and a White Death among Finnish propagandists, a feared symbol to enemies. The moniker a White Death was ironic, as it was also the name the Soviets gave to the cruel Finnish winter, which not only incapacitated but also claimed lives. Simo Haiha's shadow loomed over the battlefield, a formidable force that left the enemy fearful and the Finnish nation inspired. Simo, the White Death, was as lethal as nature itself and as relentless as the Finnish winter wind. He approached his prey, whether it was elk in childhood or enemy soldiers in war, with the same silent determination. He spent hours meticulously scouting, seeking the best positions for his shots, where he could see without being seen. Before the sun even rose, Simo was on the move, silently making his way to his carefully chosen positions. He built snow shelters around him, ensuring that his presence wouldn't be betrayed by clouds of snow kicked up by shots. Gloves between the gun and the ground dampened the rifle's recoil as he crouched to improve his aim, keeping snow in his mouth to prevent his breath from giving away his position. But the true hallmark of Simo's tactics was his choice of weapon, an old Mosin-Nagant 28/30 rifle, reliable and familiar from his hunting days. Refusing more modern Soviet rifles, he relied on the simplicity of its iron sights, avoiding the glare of telescopic sights that could give away his location to enemies. He aimed for the chest, not the head, a technique that proved deadly. When the war ended in March 1940, Simo had tallied 259 confirmed kills with his rifle and another 283 with his machine gun, totaling 542 lives taken. His story became legend, a symbol of Finnish determination and skill in facing a powerful enemy. Haiha's kills piled up rapidly, like shadows advancing over the snow. In less than 100 days, he claimed enemy lives, an unrelenting average of 5 per day, facing the darkness of the Nordic winter. His feats were witnessed by comrades, each verified death adding a number to his count. But the shadows of mystery surrounded his accomplishments, especially when multiple snipers shared a target. Commander Svensson, recognizing his lethal skill, awarded him an honorary rifle, attributing to him 219 confirmed kills with the rifle and as many with the machine gun. In a single day, on December 21, 1939, Haiha reached his peak, taking down 25 enemies. Military records, however, suggest an even higher count, reported in his diary by Chaplain Rantama, 259 confirmed kills by the day he was wounded. But in the recesses of his memories, Haiha held a secret, a list of sins, as he called it, where he estimated to have reached around 500 kills. A staggering number, shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. Historian Marjoma, cautious, questioned such a mark, attributing to him over 200 confirmed kills. Amidst data and propaganda, the truth about Haiha's feats remained obscured, like shadows in the Finnish night. The intensity of the war reached its peak when the Red Army, consumed by desperation, unleashed hellish fury against the man who had become a living legend, the feared White Death, Simo Haiha. Every artillery explosion, every bullet fired was a desperate attempt to contain the deadly fire he unleashed upon them. In the Battle of Kola, a single Finnish division, led by Simo and his 10 sharpshooters, faced an overwhelming force of 4 divisions of the Red Army and a tank brigade. The battle was a mismatch, but even in the face of adversity, the Finns emerged victorious and Simo survived, defying all odds. However, fate is relentless, and his luck would not last forever. On March 6, 1940, a week before the end of the war, a treacherous bullet struck Simo squarely, tearing his face apart with a devastating blast. They found him among the Finnish bodies, declared dead and thrown onto the rising pile of corpses. Only later, when an officer ordered a search of the bodies, did they discover Simo still alive, but severely wounded. Half of his face was disfigured, his upper and lower jaws missing. Even in a coma, he remained among the living, defying death. It was on March 13, 1940, that Simo Haiha woke, a symbol of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. His legacy would endure, a living testament to human courage amidst the chaos of war. Simo's awakening that day was marked by the cruel irony of fate. He discovered he was officially dead. The rumor of his death spread like wildfire, a macabre tale that the feared White Death had succumbed in battle. As soon as he recovered enough to hold a pen, Simo made it a point to correct the misconception, writing to his local newspaper to refute the false news. It was 14 long months of struggle, 26 painful surgeries, until Haiha fully recovered from his injuries. Despite the permanent physical sequelae, he remained determined and ready to defend his homeland against the Russians when, in 1941, the continuation of the war erupted. However, after so many trials, Simo decided he had given enough. In recognition of his accomplishments, the Finnish government honored him with the first and second-class Liberty medals, in addition to granting him an honorary M2830 rifle and a farm near the southeast border with Russia. There, he resumed his favorite activities, moose hunting, often accompanied by the President of Finland. Interest in dogs and rural life became part of his daily routine, although physical scars and death threats forced him to retreat increasingly into the solitude of his farm. Over the years, Simo witnessed the collapse of the Soviet Union and adapted to urban life, moving into an apartment in the city and later into a retirement home for war veterans. There, at 95 years old, he gave his final interview, reflecting on his remarkable life. When asked about the secret of his success as a marksman, he answered simply, practice. In 2002, at the age of 96, Simo Haiha, the legendary White Death, departed this life, leaving behind a legacy of courage and perseverance that would echo through the generations. As Simo Haiha bid farewell to this world, his memory continued to inspire generations, his legendary courage and tireless determination remaining as a beacon of hope for all who heard his story. While his legacy endured, the world kept turning and new tales of bravery and sacrifice emerged amidst the tumultuous events of war. Haiha's indomitable spirit remained a constant reminder of the power of human resilience in the face of adversity. And so, as we bid farewell to a true hero, we remember not only his feats on the battlefield but also his humanity and modesty, traits that made him such a revered figure. As we honor his memory, we move forward, mindful that Simo Haiha's legacy will continue to light the way for those seeking courage and inspiration in dark times. And as a final tribute to this great man, I invite everyone to subscribe to General Jack's channel, where stories like that of Simo Haiha and other crucial moments in wartime history are narrated with reverence and authenticity. Don't miss the chance to connect with the past and learn from the heroes who shaped the world we live in today. Like and subscribe now to not miss any thrilling episode.